You're listening to the March 14th, 2021 reading of Blossom Goodchild's channeling with the Federation of Light.
Hello there. I'm looking forward to our chat today, and thank you in advance for all that's to come through in ways of upliftment and hope. It occurred to me recently that quite a while before Christmas, you said there would be an announcement followed by a global lockdown that would take us into phase 2 of 5. Are we then not even in phase 2?
Firstly, we choose to welcome all those who take the time to follow that which we have to say, for the benefit of the greater good of all. Welcome to each one. Feel our love entering into your heart as we bring through this message, for it shall make a difference within you, within your being, as to how it is received.
So, I've just taken 3 deep breaths.
And does this make a difference?
I don't know. You haven't said anything yet.
Dearest Blossom, and each one, some of you wonder if you are worthy enough to call yourself a light worker, player. Know that if you are reading these words, then indeed you are. For if your heart is following the path of enlightenment, on discovering more of your true self, then you are recognizing that you are the light, and therefore working, playing within that light. We felt it necessary to address that before we answer your question, as there seems to be many that are wondering if they are or are not. It surprises us that one would even question. For it is within one's heart of knowing the love and light that resides within each one, and therefore one is working with, playing with that light love with every breath that is taken.
Thank you for clarifying that. To be honest, I hadn't realized it was necessary to comment. Okay, back to the phases, if we may. Would you say we are not even in phase 2?
Correct.
Far out, Brussels sprout. Yet we have no choice, I guess, other than to go with the flow.
Take into account, if you would, that within all that is taking place, many changes, many corners are turned, many advancements, and sometimes setbacks are involved in this great transformation.
Of this I am aware, yet confused that a divine plan has setbacks, especially when you've said many times that the light has won.
And yet, the final stages are still to be played out. As in many games, one party can throw a curveball out of the blue, and strategies then have to be reconsidered. And maneuvers that were all set in place and ready to go have to perhaps be put on hold in order to make sure that everything runs as smoothly as possible.
Yes, indeed. And many of us are trying our best to remain patient. Yet I would say the general consensus of those of us in position and ready for the off is that although we're told much is taking place behind the scenes, there's little evidence shown of this. The fact that phase 2 hasn't even begun is rather daunting, to say the least.
And yet, have we not said in previous conversations, Blossom, that it does not necessarily mean that each phase will take as long as perhaps this one?
Well, let's hope that's the case. Or many of my ripe old age may have popped their clogs and unable to see it through from the ground force position. And that's why we're here, is it not?
Indeed.
You see, within this waiting, there's become a new normal, depending on each one's beliefs and perspectives. Some are so happy they have had a jab and live in hope that life will soon get back to how it was, whilst others, like me, are horrified at times of deep thought by the complacency and ignorance, if I'm to be brutally honest, of those who choose not to delve even just a little deeper into this nightmare that took us all by surprise and changed our world overnight around this time last year.
let us pick out that word, Blossom. Choose.
Yet if they were better informed, would they not have chosen differently?
Yet they chose not to be better informed. Do you see?
Not really. It's hard to accept that anyone, let alone those I love dearly, were not given the information to consider before jumping into the unknown.
So are you saying those that are informed are the privileged few?
That's an odd thing to say.
Yet, is that what you are saying, Blossom?
No, not privileged. It's the path we chose to walk down. From the start, my knowing knew this facade was not of truth. That's not a privilege, is it? I just knew. How come others didn't?
Because of their chosen path. Blossom, let us put this to you in the best way we can. Every living thing upon your planet chooses their pathway.
What, even ants and plants?
Yes.
Okay, I'll not question that. I'll just accept in order for us to get somewhere without all my interruptions today.
Consider that one who has chosen to surrender to a so-called cure, prevention, of that which supposedly is killing off your population, will do so because they consider that to be the right thing to do for them. They consider you to be the uneducated, the conspiracy nutter, for not listening to what those in the know within their profession are telling you needs to be done. And you are choosing to ignore it, and therefore are choosing to kill off many more folk by your ignorance and stubbornness. Does this make them wrong?
Well, I want to say yes. Yes, I know you're going to say otherwise.
Indeed we are. They are not wrong. To them, you are.
Yet to me, they are.
Nobody is wrong, Blossom. How can one who is following their heart be wrong?
Well, because they're uninformed of what this so-called prevention will do down the track, maybe. I say maybe because one hears so much these days. I've come to realize that not everything one reads or hears is necessarily the truth. Time will tell.
Yet, still, we continue to state they are not wrong. They are doing what is definitely right for them. Therefore, we offer these words of consolation, no matter what side one is choosing to butter their bread.
Good try. Not quite in context, yet we get what you mean. Cute, nonetheless.
Indeed, the intention is understood. The path which is chosen by any individual is their divine right to walk. Just because it takes someone, be they unknown to you or so very dear to your heart, on a journey that is very different from yours, does not mean it is wrong. It means that the path chosen for each individual is what their soul needs to experience. Remember, too, without wishing to diminish the meaning of life upon earth in any way, this that you are experiencing, that you are focused on within your life's pathway on your beautiful planet, is but a grain of sand in comparison to all there is. We state again, we are not in any way undermining the utmost importance of what is taking place on this transformation of your planet. Yet consider, as you know it to be, that life itself is infinite. Life doesn't halt for one because they choose a pathway that you consider wrong. Life itself, in its infinite forms, will continue to expand in of itself in trillions upon trillions of forevers. We say this to you so that you can better understand, accept that the choices made by another are not necessarily the end of the world.
Interestingly put. I get what you're saying. I'm quite surprised at how nonchalant, if that's the right word, I am regarding letting go of any attachment to those I know who choose to do what they're told. What can I do? A bit late in the day anyway, once those concoctions have been introduced into one's body. I just have to accept it and move on. Yet at the same time, it makes one feel so detached from anything, and I wonder where my caring for those I love has gone to.
This is definitely not the case, Blossom. For is it not that within this detachment, you know on a deeper level that the love that you have for those you are close to goes far beyond any decision they make that is different from yours? In a sense, and we are not talking about death necessarily because of our chosen subject. We speak in general about death. When one you love passes through the veil, you still love them deeply. Yet they are no longer attached to you in the same way as when you were physically in their presence. The fact that they chose to pass over when they did, you do not consider as a wrong or right decision, do you?
Of course not.
Of course not. They simply were following their own journey. Do you see what we are getting at? We are not sure we are doing so well in explaining the message we wish to get across.
You're doing fine. I get what you're trying to portray. In other words, no matter what takes place for each and every one of us in these days that are to come, the love that we are, the love that we have, the love that we feel for those close or unknown to us will never be quashed by anything. Certainly not one's right to choose that which their soul needs to follow.
We were unable to put it better ourselves.
I feel today's chat will help many. It certainly helped me, even though it veered completely off track from the original question posed.
Dearest Blossom, and to all who find our words to be uplifting, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
For what?
For being, for exhibiting your true strength, for taking on the roles you have, for finding within you the wherewithal to continue on, for knowing that you, each one, have within you what it takes to lift Mother Earth and all who sail in her into her truer, brighter home. The time will come when these days that you are living within now will be but a distant, far distant memory. And the days that you are to walk into in your future will bring such peace, satisfaction, and comfort in the knowing that each one of you followed your heart in order to bring you to a place that you only dream of in these current times. Know your knowingness. Feel your feelings. Trust your trusting. Love your loveliness. Such beings of strength and light, doing what you came here to do. Shining yourself upon your planet in order to make the changes necessary, to live once again in a world of beauty and of loving light. We trust you can feel this day how much love we have for you. You, the ones on the front line. You, the strongest of the strong, who surely by now must recognize this within.
Thank you for that. Yes, sometimes I feel, like many, that we certainly have to be in order to get through this. And then I think of others who truly are on the front line in ways unknown behind the scenes, and I think about how strong they have to be, which in turn makes me stronger. If they, whoever they may be, can do what they have to do, then in all humility, so can I. In gratitude, in loving service, I am.